There he is. There's one. Come on, it's simple. I'll buy you a drink. There's one.
He wants
one. I need an adult now.
Right here.
This guy?
Yep.
Get on up here.
I'll remember this.
Come on back here. I'll give you a little bit of direction, a costume, and then we'll get started. All right, let's see. You're going to be Charlie Rich, a gambler from Cheyenne. You'll be Captain William Maskey. Captain? Carl? Or Charlie? Carl. All right, come on back behind the screen here. I'll give you a little bit of direction and we'll get started. If you hear any gunshots, don't be alarmed. Just means they can't take direction. Yes, and I ain't gonna shoot.
My name's Colorado Charlie Other. You met my best friend, Wild Bill. I don't call him friend, I call him James. Yeah, James Butler Hickok. That name Wild Bill kind of haunted him. Yeah, that got thrown on him, and after that, everybody was after Wild Bill. He was a lawman all across the great state of Kansas. Places like Wichita, Abilene, Fort Hays, Fort Riley. He cleaned up those cattle towns and did a great job. And the only time he shot somebody was when they walked through the show. But his notoriety as a lawman made it back east. Everybody back there that was involved with the media, well, I hate to tell you this, folks. Back in my day, sometimes the media did not tell the truth. Oh, I'm not kidding. I know it's hard to believe. Yeah, but no, sometimes they just stretch it. Harper's Magazine, they said that Wild Bill shot 120 people in his lifetime. The Chicago paper, 110 people. Now, in reality, he shot between 7 and 12. And because of all of that noise they made, well, everybody out there that wanted to make a name for himself went after Wild Bill Hickok. So he started doing certain things, you know, like this fine gentleman right here. One thing he did, well, he would sit with his back to the wall. Now wasn't that uncommon back there, in the time of Wild Bill. Now, we had the greats here. Wyatt Earp was here. Guess where he's at? With his back to the wall. We had Doc Holliday here in Deadwood, under the name Tom McKee. That was his uncle. Yeah, he sat with his back to the wall. Buffalo Bill Cody. Guess where he sat? Any place you deem well pleased. He was pretty famous even by then. Yeah, now some of you guys are sitting there with your back exposed to all kinds of people. You know these people behind you? Isn't that right here? He looks pretty suspicious. Keep an eye on him. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't notice he's wearing shorty pants. You don't have to worry about a guy wearing shorty pants. Yeah. Son of a gun. Well, I do a couple of things here at school number 10. I am the in-house historian, resident historian here. And I taught college out here at the graduate level, history, for over 20 years. So if you got any questions after the show, you can find me, I'll answer them for you. If I don't know the answer to your question, I'll do what I did with my students. I'll just make it up. You really know the difference. He was in the first gunfight ever in the West. The Prince of the Pistoliers, Mr. James Butler Hickok. Wild Bill!
Thank you, Charlie. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Deadwood. Yeah, welcome to the old style saloon number 10. This is the only museum in the world with a bar in it. I know. You know, that's why I hang out here. I love museums. He's a tough crowd, huh? Well, anyway, I know why you're all here today. Here to watch me play some cards, right? Yeah! All right, well, I'm going to do that for you. First, let me introduce the friends I'm playing with today. Charlie Rich, come on out. Charlie Rich, yeah. Right over here, Charlie. Right over there, Charlie. Next up, we got Captain William Massey, a retired riverboat captain. There he is, right there next to Charlie. All right, Carl, it's all about you. Carl, man, the owner of the saloon tent. There he is. Right here, Carl. And last but not least, everybody's favorite guy in the bar. The bartender, Harry Young. There he is. All right, like I said, I'm gonna play some cards for you. First, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I am James Butler Hickok. Folks nowadays, well, they all like to call me Wild Bill. Now, I'm gonna start after the Civil War. I did fight during the Civil War. I was a scout and a spy for the Northern Army. But when the war ended, I was just like everybody else. I needed work. So I took off looking for work. I ended up in Springfield, Missouri. Now Springfield, more just a stopping point for me. But I did find a card game right away. And if you don't know anything else about me, it's a good game of poker. Now in this game, I played with a fella by the name of Davis Tutt. Davis, he was a Southern boy, and of course I fought for the North during the war, so how we got along well enough to sit across the table from each other, I have no idea. Man, that guy really did not like me at all. But we managed to get along for a couple days anyway, and well, I ended up owing him about $35. Now, $35 being quite a sum of money that I didn't have, and Davis really wanted some collateral, well, I didn't know what I was going to do. All I had was an old pocket watch that my daddy had given me, and I wasn't about to give that up. But Davis, he was relentless. He wanted something to ensure him that he was going to get his money back. So, reluctantly, I did end up giving him that pocket watch, but I told him, I said, now Davis, don't be going around telling everybody how you took that from me in a card game, because that ain't how it happened. That watch means a whole lot more to me than $35, and I'm getting it back. Well, the very next day, here's Davis Tutt in the streets of Springfield, swinging that watch around, taunting me with it. Oh, I yelled at him across the town square, told him to knock it off, but he didn't want to listen. He yells back at me, I yell back at him. Then what's he do? He pulls out a gun and he takes a shot at me. Landed right at my feet. Well, if you know anything about the West, you don't take a shot at somebody unless you expect one coming right back at you. And I don't miss. I lined up and Davis 75 yards across that town square in my .36 caliber black powdered pistol. Bang! One shot right through the heart. Well, the authorities there in Springfield were none too happy with me shooting a fella down their street. They arrested me. They told me that I was liable for the death of Davis Tutt. Well, I said, what about self-defense? He shot first. Yeah, all the witnesses on his side said he was just funning around. He wasn't really shooting at me. You know, I'm quite sure he doesn't think it's too fun anymore. Well, the judge saw it my way. Self-defense. I was acquitted there in Springfield. But I did figure it's about high time I got out of town. Now, as I'm leaving town, I run into another fellow who just happened to be at that gunfight, and he saw the whole thing. He was a writer by the name of Henry Nickel. Now, Mr. Nickley wrote for Harper's Monthly, and he wrote a lot of dive novels out there on the East Coast. Said he wanted to do an interview with me. Said the people out there, they need a hero of the new frontier, and, well, I guess he's gonna make me it. Now, in this interview, I told him some stories about myself, and, yeah, maybe I exaggerated just a tad, but not nearly as much as he did. By the time he told that story, he had me killing over 200 people. Can you believe that? It was more like less than a half a dozen at this point. But it did make me famous. I went from being James Butler Hickok to being Wild Bill Hickok, the Prince of the Pistoliers, the greatest gunfighter the West had ever seen. And while the fame was nice, it kind of put a target on my back. Every guy that had a gun wanted to be the same guy that shot down the greatest gunfighter in the West. And I had to be extra cautious from then on. Now, still need to get out of Springfield, though acquitted. They were not happy about it. And, well, I still needed work, so I took off and I headed west. Traveled across Kansas doing odd jobs just to survive. I drove a little freight for a while, scouted for the likes of the 7th Cavalry and the 10th Cavalry. And as I'm out there scouting for them boys, well, I noticed a lot of small towns were sprouting up out there. Yeah, it seemed like everybody just kind of headed west on this big land grab, you know? Well, it also seemed to me not a lot of them towns had any law in them to speak of. Kind of gave me an idea, maybe I should be a lawman. So that's what I did. Now, I cleaned up a lot of towns across Kansas, places like Fort Riley, Wichita, Hays City, a couple more, till I ended up in Abilene, Kansas. Now, see, Abilene, it was a rough cattle town. What the roughest there was. Them cattle drives, they'd come through there, bring all sorts of outlaws and ruffians with them. They'd shoot up the town, scare the daylights out of everybody. The people of Abilene, well, they were sure happy when they heard the great Wild Bill Hickok took the job as their marshal and was going to clean that place up. I got there, I laid down some new ground rules. Do not bring your guns to town. Certainly don't be shooting them off in city limits. But there was this guy. There's always this guy, right? Yeah, a fella by the name of Phil Coe. Phil, he was a Texas cattleman. He bought a bar there in Abilene, and I guess he had a little problem with my authority. See, as a marshal, I laid down the rules and I enforced them. And Phil, he didn't want to follow the rules. He just wanted to argue with me about them all the time. Every day it seemed there was something new with that guy. Well, till early one evening, I'm sitting in the saloon, minding my own business, winding down from a long day's work, and I hear this ruckus in the street. People are screaming and hollering, guns are going off everywhere. I run outside to investigate, and who is it? It's Phil Coe and all his friends shooting up the town, scaring everybody. Well, much like Davis, I yelled at him to knock it off too, but he didn't want to listen either. Pretty soon we got a big shouting match going on in the street, and, well, Phil reaches for his pistol. Big mistake. I'm quicker. I saw him reach for his, reach for mine, drew first, bam, I shot him dead right there. But, like I said, he had all those friends with him. And they all had guns too. I'm by myself, I'm on the defensive. I looked up at them all, I yelled, "Who wants the rest of these?" Nobody said a word. Until I heard somebody yell my name from back in the alley. I turned quick, shot again. Oh, I shot my deputy, Mike Williams. That was a bad day. Oh, you're laughing about that. Come on, sir. I shot my friend, my deputy. Boy, you got a sick sense of humor. That was a bad day. I didn't much want to be a lawman anymore after that. So I gave it up, and I moved on. So I bounced across Kansas again, doing the things I like to do to try and make myself feel a little better. I mean, sure, I had a drink or several. But I did find good card games about any town I went to. Great ones, just like this one right over here. Oh, well, let me try that again. Just like this card game right over here. Hold on a second. Play cards, fellas. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, there they go. Holy cow. Boy, they don't take a hint worth a darn, do they? Well, you know, at this point in my life, after I shot my deputy, my friends were worried about me. They said I was spinning out of control, wasting my life away, and, well, they all wanted to give me a leg up of sorts. And when I ran into Buffalo Bill Cody, now I know y'all know who that is. Buffalo Bill and our other friend Texas Jack, well, they come up to me and say, Bill, we're taking a Wild West show out to the East Coast, and we would be honored if you would join us. Well, not doing much else at the time and really needing some money, I said, why not? Let's take that Wild West show out there and show them Easterners just how wild it really is out here. Truth be told, I didn't care for that. Now, some people are showmen and some aren't. Buffalo Bill? Heck yeah, there's a showman for you. Me? Oh, not so much. Then I tell you, it didn't take long. We got out the East Coast, started doing shows. The critics, they tore us apart. You know, they actually wrote in the newspaper that between myself, Buffalo Bill, and Texas Jack, that we could not act out a simple English sentence. Yeah, I know I should have shot him for that, right? No, I didn't need any more trouble out there. See, my friend Buffalo Bill, he didn't think it was right that I was drinking and carrying on during the show, and, well, he took my liquor away. I'm here to tell you it made me rather ornery. I shot the lights out of Madison Square Garden, shot a couple of extras with blanks, and started their pants on fire because I thought it was funny. Yeah, they didn't. I'd say by the end of it all, my good friend Buffalo Bill regretted every minute of taking me with on that tour. So I saved him the trouble of firing me and I quit. Oh, the West was calling me again anyhow. I had to get back out here. I ended up over there in Cheyenne, Wyoming territory. Now, when I got to Cheyenne, well, I found me a card game right away, because that's just what I do. I played for a couple days, and in walks a lady friend, Agnes Lake. Now, see, I'd known Agnes for years, and when we got back together, it was like we never left each other. I found out she was as fond of me as I was of her, so I asked her to marry me. You know what she said? No, of course she said yes. I wouldn't tell the story if she said no. She did say yes. We had a nice little wedding there, and I whisked her away on a honeymoon to Cincinnati. Now, what's wrong with Cincinnati? Come on now, honeymoon in Cincinnati. Is that where you guys went? No. Why not? Come on, it's a Queen City. Riverboats and everything. At least it wasn't Cleveland. No, I shouldn't say that. People from Cleveland get mad at me for that. Anybody here from Cleveland? Now, what are the odds, right? Yeah, we're good. Well, We honeymooned in Cincinnati for a short spell, but Agnes, she had worked there. She's running a circus by this time, and well, I had to get back out here.
Poker seat open for Jim. Jim to the poker room.
So I left her there and I headed back west. Oh, I figured to myself, Cheyenne seemed like a right fine town. Maybe that's where I'll go start working on a fortune so me and Agnes can retire. Turns out, Cheyenne was not nearly as good to me as I'd initially hoped. No, I went on this long streak of bad luck, you see. I lost all my money at the card tables. I ended up penniless in the streets of Cheyenne. You know what they did to me there? They arrested me. They told me I was a vagrant. They told me to get out of town and not come back. I know, imagine that. I go from being Wild Bill Hickok, the Prince of the Pistolers, the greatest gunfighter ever seen, to the biggest bummer of Cheyenne, and they wrote that in the newspaper. Yeah, I know, right? Well, lucky for me, as I'm leaving Cheyenne, I ran into another friend of mine, Colorado Charlie Utter. Now, yeah, that's a fella you just met out here. Charlie Utter and myself, well, we've been best friends ever since I was a marshal in Hays City, and it just so happens he was bringing a wagon train from his home there in Colorado, going right through Cheyenne. About the time I was getting kicked out, he pulls up, he says, "Bill, get on
Poker
this
seat open for Jim. Last call, Jim to the poker room.
Get on this wagon train with us. Huge gold strike in the Black Hills of Dakota territory. So I tell you what, you come with us, I got a gold claim up there. You can work the claim, I'll drive freight back and forth, and we'll split the money 50-50. Well, being as how it was for me there in Cheyenne, that was not a hard decision to make. I hopped that wagon train with him. All sorts of fine folks on there, over 200 of them. 70 plus wagons, all filled with goods for this town right here. Now we headed north out of Cheyenne. We spent about a week out on the prairie before we pull up at a place called Fort Laramie. Now when we got to the fort, they were excited to see us because, well, some ladies had stopped by there and they were causing all sorts of trouble at that fort. The guys weren't getting their work done, they weren't getting any sleep at night. They were staying up all night drinking and fraternizing with these women. Colonel wanted us to get them out of there post haste. Now I'm sure you know at least a couple of them. Dirty M was there. Nobody? How about Madam Mustache? Oh, that guy knows Madam Mustache. That little laugh there said everything. Oh yeah, I won't say anything more. Little Tidbit was there, and well, Calamity Jane. Now I know y'all recognize that name because y'all been starting and spreading rumors about myself and Calamity maybe being romantically involved. Dude. Not true. Come on now, I just told y'all I was married. Yeah, and them rumors get back to Agnes, I'm in all sorts of trouble. Now I probably should talk about Calamity just for a second or two because I know y'all know her very well. And yeah, it is true, she did look like a man. Oh, she definitely smelled like one. She drank like one, dressed like one. Heck, she cursed like a whole boatload of sailors. But for all her faults, she had a heart of gold. If you had a problem and Calamity Jane was anywhere around, she'd help you out, I guarantee it, just the kind of person she was. Now, we never got to be any more than just friends, but we had a great time from Fort Laramie to here. About another week and a half out on the trail before we pull up on the edge of town. We look down over this gulch, and it is gold claims as far as the eye can see in every direction. Heck, we started laughing, said it looked like a couple of anthills. There were so many thousand people running up and down the sides of this gulch looking for that gold. Oh yeah, gold fever will do that to you. Tell you what, I had a touch of it myself, but I just got excited. I knew I had a working gold claim out there. I went right out and I started working it. I worked it hard for about 3 hours. Yeah, I found out real fast that gold mining was not for me. But Deadwood being what it is, all the people, the gold, the saloons, the gambling halls. Oh, it didn't take me long to find something else to do in this town. I was downtown playing cards. Now, this is looking like a pretty good game over here. Who's winning? Nobody knows, huh? I tell you what, I'm pretty sure these folks are all sick of listening to me talk by now. So I'm gonna head up front. Got a friend of mine up there. I gotta talk to him for a second, and I'll be right back here to play, okay? We'll see y'all in a few. Try not to lose all that money before I get back, Carl. I'll probably own this place before the night's over.
Hi, folks, and welcome to the Old Style Saloon number 10. In a few moments, you'll step back in time to witness what happened on that fateful day, August 2nd, 1876, when Wild Bill Hickok was gunned down by crooked-nosed Jack McCall. The employees of the number 10 will set the scene for you, so sit back, hang on to your sarsaparilla, and we'll start from the beginning. It was during the latter part of August 1875. Frank Bryant and a party of 7 gazed down into a gulch of tangled, broken trees, which from then on was to be known as Deadwood Gulch. They made their way to the bottom and began to pan for gold. Soon the cry of gold echoed up and down the canyon walls. They hastily built a crude cabin east of their find, but nevertheless went on to prospect throughout the northern hills, only to return on November 8, 1875, to post a claim of their discovery. On the very next day, November 9th, 1875, a second group filed a claim just short of 3 miles up the creek. This outlined a stretch that was destined to become known as the richest placer claim area, not only in North America, but the entire Western Hemisphere. As news of this bonanza leaked out, the rush was on, resulting in a flood of mankind from all directions. The army could no longer stop the invasion of the fortune hunters. By August 2nd of 1876, Deadwood Gulch, now known as Deadwood City, and often referred to as Sin City, had acquired a worldwide reputation as a booming metropolis. Its surrounding hills and creeks were loaded with gold. Even greenhorns were said to be able to find nuggets, well, as they put it, bigger than horse turds. Its streets were lined with substantial businesses, offering everything from an opera house to dance halls, saloons and banks, stores of every sort, but mainly saloons and gambling dens. Deadwood Gulch was jam-packed with every variety of mankind, good and bad. The likes of Wild Bill Hickok, Seth Bullock, Wyatt Earp, Calamity Jane, Colorado Charlie Utter, California Joe, and Preacher Smith. Somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 of them. They came with greed or lust and high ideals, but the frenzied excitement that Deadwood provided well satisfied their pioneer spirits. 2 guys named Nuttall and Mann couldn't picture themselves seeking their fortune as prospectors, and instead built a house on their placer claim, number 10, which became known as Saloon number 10. On the morning of August 2nd, 1876, Harry Young was tending bar in the number 10. His hair was greased, as was customary for bartenders in gold camps. This was essential as part of a method used by bartenders to collect a little extra loot for themselves. Before reaching into a prospector's poke for a pinch of gold to collect for a given whiskey, the bartender would rub his fingers through his greasy hair, thus oiling them well. He would deposit the unoiled gold dust into the boss's take, and by again rubbing his fingers through his hair, redeposit the oily flakes where it could be washed out later. It's said that there was a bald-headed barkeep who was known to have half a dozen hair pieces, all well oiled. His take was enormous, as the laundering process was more efficient.
That's awesome.
The dance hall girls had arrived on Colorado Charlie Utter's wagon train in late June, ready and willing to entertain the thousands of eligible prospectors. Some came with hopes of finding the right man. Others came simply to make their own fortune. Their attire, somewhat more revealing than what was thought to be proper, was looked down upon by those trained in ladylike etiquette, but nonetheless, they brought to the gold rush an air of reckless, dazzling excitement. By August 2nd, 1876, they were well established up and down Deadwood City's main street, working around the clock in one fashion or the other. Honky-tonk piano and their songs of promising spirit filled the air. Many an unlucky prospector could find hope for tomorrow, for he knew what the night would bring. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Wild Bill Hickok entered saloon number 10, seeking a little poker action. Charlie Rich, a gambler from Cheyenne, Carl Mann, owner of saloon number 10, and Captain Massey, a riverboat captain from Missouri, were engaged in a game of draw poker and were quick to invite Bill to join them. Wild Bill's reputation demanded that he be exceedingly cautious. For instance, he never liked to sit with his back to the door. The vacant seat was so located, and a lively debate between Charlie Rich and Bill resulted in an attempt on Bill's part to get Charlie's chair.
You want me to sit in this chair? Come on, Charlie.
Bill was not given his request, and grudgingly, with great hesitation, took the empty chair. But after a few minutes, he stood up and again asked Charlie for his chair.
You don't get that many cards anyway. Hey, Charlie, I can't
Bill didn't win this
Will you give me
argument
that
either,
chair?
and on this rare occasion, he settled down, sitting with his back to the door. Wariness, though, kept Bill alert, for all knew him to be a left-handed drinker, leaving his right hand free to handle his pistol. As unpredictable as card games are, Bill found himself quickly losing to Massey, who had lost to Bill the night before. Bill asked Harry for $15 worth of pocket checks. Harry brought them over to Bill and returned to the bar and his duties.
All right, I believe it is your bet, Carl. How many you gonna bet?
Soon, a shifty drifter known as Jack McCall entered the saloon. Bill quickly turned while drawing his gun. Recognizing McCall as a newcomer to town, he greeted him with a friendly,
"Howdy, Jack."
then reholstered
That
his
kid
gun
was in here
and
last
resumed
night
the
playing
game.
cards. I can't believe he came back
Jack slowly
today.
circled the table, pausing briefly behind each player
You know, he
and
must have lost
analyzing each
250,
hand.
300 in here last night. Left out just mad as a hornet. Pay no mind to him. He's just a kid. He don't know nothing. All right, he bet them all. That's
Wild Bill's attention was on Massey. There was a friendly argument between them, and Wild Bill remarked,
15? Come on, Charlie. Captain,
upon
you're
returning
losing all
directly behind
anyway.
Wild Bill,
Let's
suddenly
throw
Jack
it in there.
McCall,
Take that, dang you! My wrist!
the bullet struck Bill in the back of the head, coming out of his left cheek and lodged in Captain Massey's left arm. It was discovered soon after the cards Bill was holding were aces and eights, forever known as the dead man's hand. All fled the saloon except Carl Mann, who was held at bay by McCall. Jack snapped the trigger of his gun several times. It failed to fire. He then ran out the door and up the street. He was found hiding in a building behind a butcher shop. Later on in the day, he was tried in a miner's court. The jury, being tainted and influenced by a deceitful defense, found McCall not guilty, and he was released. This decision not only outraged the judge, but also the general populace. McCall left the camp in haste. Upon reaching supposed safety in Wyoming, he began bragging of his ignoble deed. Word of this reached a U.S. Marshal who tracked McCall down, arrested him, and sent him to Yankton to be tried again in Dakota Territory. It was determined, since the first trial was held in Indian Territory, that it was not legal. McCall was found guilty and hung for his cowardly crime. He was buried in an unmarked grave on the edge of town. Later, as the town grew, the cemetery was moved. As the coffins were opened, one corpse was found with a rope around its neck. It was easily identified as Jack McCall, the assassin of Wild Bill. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time to allow us to share the historical war that made Deadwood a legend of its own. Keep watching.
Hey, we'll be up there for a little while. Do you want a picture of me or Jack over here? Come on up, don't be shy. Hey, not a spit tune either. Do not spit that thing. All right, Deadwood Alive will capture that stinging Jack McCall right up front in about 5-10 minutes, and they drag him up for trial at the Masons Hall. Great family show. Hope to see you there.